Hello everyone. There are many lessons on money that we can glean from the Wolf himself, Jordan Belfort. Throughout the film, The Wolf of Wall Street, and interviews that he has done throughout the years, Jordan and his group of renegade brokers have laid out their ideas on making money and getting rich. So today we'll be delving into these ideas that come from this film, and we'll be talking about how we might be able to apply this to our own investing strategies and maybe get richer in the process. So idea number one is that having more money actually makes you a better person. Jordan Belfort starts the film by talking about how much wealth he has. He talks about all his material possessions and how being rich allows him and others to give to charity and actually make them nicer people. So do I think this is true? Well, no, not really. I think he's alluding to the fact that people can choose to be nice because they have that wealth, and if they're poor, they generally have less of a choice. A great book that covers this topic is The Psychology of Money. And in the book, it talks about a wealthy tech company owner that used to flaunt his wealth like a child, showing everyone the stack of $100 bills he carries around with him. The same man then goes on to become bankrupt, divorced, and eventually homeless. This is very similar to the concepts in this film. As the film goes on, Jordan becomes drug addicted and divorced and altogether very wealthy. But then he gets thrown in jail. So he's openly said in interviews that he doesn't regret those decisions and that being rich still makes up for all those bad things that have happened to him. So what is our takeaway from this? Well, for me personally, it's that you'll never have enough money in your life in general. You'll always constantly want more money. So really, you have to not live beyond your means unless you want to get into debt and eventually maybe in jail like Jordan Belfort did. So that doesn't mean that you can't actually make money and be successful, but it does mean that you should probably have a goal along the way so you don't lose yourself and keep striving for more and more money like he did. So in this particular way, we don't want to be selfish. Maybe our goals can be based around our family. For me personally, it's about increasing the quality of life I have for me and my family, and generally build my wealth in a better way than a savings account would. Then again, I am not a millionaire, so who am I to talk? Next learning point comes from the Get Rich Quick ads. Jordan initially loses his job and starts to sell pink sheets, or penny stocks as we call them now. When talking to a fellow broker about the stocks themselves, he says they are in Hustler and other magazines in ads, saying people can get rich quick. What strikes me about these forms of advertisement and videos that you still see on the web today is that more often than not, they don't actually tell you how to get rich and don't tell you how to do it quickly. But they do, in the case of the film, simply try and get you to invest in something that you don't know anything about. It's like pyramid schemes and other forms of investment where people are doing it for their own gain. In this particular case of the film, the people there are trying to get people to invest in stocks and companies that they've never heard of, and they're getting a commission out of doing this. In this particular case, they're getting 50% commission just to get people to invest in the company, which is obviously a massive margin and something Jordan Belfort takes advantage of. So what can we take from this? Well, firstly, that the get rich quick ads, schemes and videos that are still out there today are more often than not putting your money and welfare first. They're just trying to get something out of you. So be careful with who you're listening to and trusting what you're watching online, because despite the world of investing becoming more accessible and we're using different things to now invest rather than brokers, there are still individuals that may try to convince you of these schemes and companies to invest in. So it's a dangerous world out there and we've got to be on our watch. Then secondly, do not believe every friend, acquaintance or news article you read about different stocks. So this might sound obvious, but the reality is that we've all got excited before about reading news articles and what a friend has told them about individual companies and their potential, how they're going to be the next Nvidia with skyrocketing revenue. The realities are we should be doing our own research, because we should be wary of that feeling we get when we hear about a new stock, the excitement that's there, because that's what these salesmen and brokers are playing off of. And in the particular case of the film, that's what they are trying to ignite, that urgency in people. to buy stocks that they know nothing about and to make massive returns to become rich, which is what we all want, I guess, at the end of the day. Moving along, Jordan sets up Stratton Oakmont, his company of stockbrokers that are effectively scamming investors by selling customers companies for crazy prices. They're lumping in normal stocks like Microsoft and IBM with the likes of penny stocks that no one's heard of, and in that way they're creating this unfamiliarity with investors and trying to convince them to buy these companies so they can claim the commission back. Now, times have changed. We don't have to go to stockbrokers like this to invest our money. You can do that on apps like Trading 212, Freetrade, or in the case of the US, M1 Finance. But these money crazed brokers, they still exist. Ones that don't care about you or your money and want to take it for themselves to create their own wealth. Now, Stratton go on to carry out what is called a public offering of a company, or an IPO. The company is run by a guy called Stephen Madden, and Jordan's and his colleague actually own 85% of the stock before the IPO. Now, legally, the firm taking a company public cannot own any of the stock, and Jordan holds over 1 million shares in different accounts. He's then sold these stocks when it comes up to a share price of over $18 per share, making a hell of a lot of money in the process. Now, what I like about this film is that every time it comes to explain how Jordan and his colleagues are making this sort of money, the deals they're doing and the illegal activities that they're carrying out, he doesn't explain it. He simply interrupts himself by saying,
I know you're not following what I'm saying anyway, right? That's okay, that doesn't matter. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not. But we were making more money than we knew what to do with.
So he understands that people don't care how he does it. They simply care that the result is he earns lots and lots of money. And this is sort of his takeaway from this particular film. There is always people out there that don't seem to care that stocks are part of businesses and that investing long term is probably the best and more preferable way to make money. So I try to be the guy on the other side of things, the bit similar to Warren Buffett to normal investors, that long-term investing is the way you build true wealth, and generally speaking, if you are buying a stock or a business and you don't even know how it makes money, then really you're just sort of gambling with your own money. Finally, we get to the end of the film where Belfort is put into jail, where he informs on his colleagues in a plea deal and is given 3 years in a prison in Nevada, where he claims that being rich helped him survive, and when he comes out of jail he goes on to teach people sales techniques. One of these techniques is selling a pen. Now, we talk about this in another part of the film. Most people try to sell the pen by describing it or saying everything it can do, which Belfort believes doesn't really even matter. What matters is creating an urgency surrounding the pen or the item you're trying to sell, and that has to be created in your audience, the person you are trying to sell it to. And I believe this is actually what the whole film and moral of the film is actually about. Throughout the film, Belfort is a polarising character, and he seems to get rich through magical means and financial loopholes. And his company and normal people love him because he can continue to make money in this way. Because they idolise him and they've seen him in his fast cars and his mansions. They just want that for themselves. Even at one point he says,
Knuckleheads, but I need them to want to live like me, you get it? To live like me.
So he creates this urgency to get rich in others, to be like him, which allows him to profit off of these individuals, letting them work for him and pay him for seminars even after he gets out of jail. So whatever your take is on Jordan Belfort, I really think this film has a lot to teach us and to learn from. But what do you guys think of the film? Do you really enjoy it? Let me know down below. And as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one.